Hey everyone, today we're going to do a video on this piece of furniture right here. Sorry if you heard the voice kind of fade out. I just had to move something real quick. Anyways, so this we're going to replicate or do a variation of this kind of furniture. So as you can see, it is very, what's it called, attractor point heavy, as it requires. If we just take a quick look at it. So in my last video, I talked about like the final remarks of the video, final remarks of how to learn Grasshopper. So the tutorial series is over, but this series, sorry, being informal about it, but this series is going to be on just doing precedents and studies and kind of things that I see, and I'm going to do it, kind of what I've been doing already in the tutorials, but expanding a little further with that and actually starting to just dive deep into these precedents and kind of explain my thought process when I see a model that I want to replicate. Sorry about that. So if we look at this real quick, we can kind of see its contour. The first, when you start modeling, the first thing you want to do is find an approach. You don't want to just dive straight into the modeling. You want to actually understand how it works, how to model it, and kind of find an approach on how to model it. You gotta have set a bit of a game plan. It doesn't have to be a very exact game plan. Like, it doesn't have to be exact, but just to be a general approach. And it doesn't have to be detailed, just some general approach. So I know that it right now has contours, and it has these kind of surface manipulation done via tractor point, from what I see at least. As you see, it could be just be a flat surface that is just raised up on 5 points. That includes the middle, so 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the fifth one right here. So when we see this, what I see here is just an attractor point plus a glass piece on here, or a slab of glass, or a glass table. So yeah, how I'm thinking of doing this is a tractor point and with a surface. So I'll create a bunch of points, and I will attractor point it. So make a field of points and just attractor point it. That's what I'm thinking of. I think that's the best way. Let me think. Maybe it'll be better. No. Because there's two ways to do it. You can create the points by dividing up a surface, like a base surface, and then using attractor points. I think that's the best way. I think that's the best way, is using the surface and then dividing it up, because then the vector is already set with a divided surface component as up and down, or in the z-axis. So I think that's the best approach. All right, so we're gonna do that approach because it's already defined. You can use a square component and then take the points off of those and then set the vector to be in the z-axis, but no, I'm too lazy. So yeah, let's get started on this. I'm going to keep this up, so let's get started. Right now I'm going to work in top view. So let's just start with a quick plane. So let's just start plane surface, and then we can define the XY size. I want this to be a 2 feet by 2 feet. So this is, before we start, modeling units in inches. So, and then that should be it. Alright, anyways, 24 by 24, which is 2 feet by 2 feet. You don't have to make it that. You can make it whatever you want. Just for this case, I want to do it like this. And then after that, I'm going to divide the surface. So this tutorial, while I'm doing this, this tutorial series is going to be called Parametric Precedent Study, so PPS, and I will definitely try. Sorry if you hear construction in the background. I will definitely try to do a lot of these. Again, I do have school, so I don't know how much time I'll have to do these, but I will try my best. And I do find these fun, so I'm going to continue doing it until I find something else that's more fun, in my opinion. So, I'm just going to set the count to 15 for right now, the UV count. So I want to keep it equal. And then, as you can see, when I have these points, you can now start to manipulate how many you have. So I'm just going to keep it at 25. Awesome. Sweet. And right now it's spitting out 676 points. Shouldn't it be 15 times 25, 25? 25 times 25. Oh, let me check this real quick. Are you sure? 625, 676. I think it's creating an extra row because of the edges. Okay, that's fine. I just want to make sure I'm getting something right. I'm going to start with actually a low point count, so 15 should be fine. And then what we're going to do is, so we get these points and then the normals. So the normals is already a vector. You can see if we do point and then click this, we can see that the point is up here. So we know that the vector is up. So if we set this normal as our vector, it's already going up. So that's why I start with divide surface instead of a square and all that stuff. So we're going to keep it in perspective view, actually. Sorry if you hear so much clicking. This is how I model. Alright, so we're going to do a move component as well, because we want these points moved. But before we do that, we want to get these corner points. 1, 2, 3, and 4. It doesn't have to be exactly these points, but it definitely has to be those at that exact point. Like, it has to be points at that exact location and in the middle. So to get the middle one is really easy. We just do an area component, and we have the center of that. So we're good. We don't need to worry about that one. All right, next one. The corner ones are a little tricky. What we can do actually, maybe is do an explode. Explode? No. Oh, that works. Okay, cool. So it gives us, see, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to do a list item, and we're going to list each one of these points right here. So I'm just going to plug in a bunch of them. Let me just copy and paste this last one because I'm getting tired of doing this. So I'm going to move it up here a little bit. Sweet. So straighten this out. Straighten it out one more time. Boom. Alright, so now we have 1, 2, 3, 4. And I just realized I plugged this into the wrong place. I plugged it into segments, which is lines. Crap. Gotta replug in all this. Sorry about that. Alright. So now we have all the points highlighted. We have, not all of them, we only have 0 highlighted. So as you can see, if we go to panel, we only have, there's 0, 0, 24, 24, 24. We only have, we want to highlight 0, 1, 2, and 3. So we already have 0 highlighted, right? Because index is already locally defined as 0. So we can do 1, 2, 3. And then we can just straighten these out and actually start to plug these into various places. So you can see now we have 0. Oh, I don't know how I opened that up. 0, 1, 2, 3. And if you didn't see 1 was right here. As you can see, highlighted here. Alright, so now that we have that, we want to take that area component, because those are all the points that we want to use as attractor points. And we're going to, do we want to move it? We want to move it. Alright, let's do that. Move. We're going to do separate move components if we want different results. 3, 4. So I just copy and pasted that. And straighten this out. Boom, boom. Alright, nice. Let's move this back a little bit. We want them all in the Z direction. Sweet. Okay, so now we have it in the Z direction. We can now do a move and just plug this in. Plug these into the geometry. And now they're all moving at 1. And oops, I forgot to do one more move. Move. Z. Motion. Centroid. And now move. Awesome. Now we have all these lined up. And now, all we need to do is pick a number for the z-axis. So I'm going to move it. I'm going to move it 1 foot up. You're going to see all of them are now moving up. Awesome. Alright, so now we have move. So we go back down here. We're going to now do a geometry move. Motion. I usually just define z anyways. Or we don't need to do that because the amplitude will define that for us. So it's asking for a vector. We just plug in the motion here. And it says amplitude vector. Our vector will go into here. Sweet. And now we just need to do an amplitude, which will be our remap numbers. So we're going to define the amplitude. This one's just defining it as defined as 1 right now. We'll plug in the mapped. And then we're going to do a construct domain. And then we're going to do a bounds to here. Once we do a bounds, we're going to do closest point distance here. And then we're going to have a point in cloud. So the point here will be here. And then the cloud will be these points. But I'm going to define the domain first. I know I want it to be from 0 to... What do I want it from? 0 to 1? Or 0 to... What's 1 inch? Let's do 0 to 6 right now. Or it should be whatever. It should be whatever this... Okay, so I'm going to do 0 to 12. I'm going to try 0 to 12 right now. I'm going to try to make it, I'm going to make it the same as these two, and if it doesn't work out, then I can always, and if it does work out, I'll just plug this one into this one, so it's more automated. But for right now, I'm just going to see if this works. Geometry motion, and it's not doing anything. Oh, we don't have a point into here. Alright, let's get... So we have all these points right now, but they're all on separate lists. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a merge. Merge this one, merge this one, I merge you, and you. And we can subtract this one out. Alright, nice. And then let's look at the panel. I want to see what it's like right now. Yeah, it's doing this weird funky stuff. So we're going to flatten that. So it's all under one branch. And plug this into here. We get all this weird junk. Okay then. Didn't expect this. Alright, so let's, instead of this being 0, let's define this one at 12. Well, if this is the main start and end is at, well, that makes sense. Disconnect, number slider. So we get this form. But it looks kind of funky, right? It doesn't look right. Let's try that. Alright, so it looks kind of funny. It looks very linear, as you can see. If we do a surface from points, and we make it addition, and we do this, addition from 1 to the UV count, we can get, oh, wrong one. I guess it's not +1. Is it -1? I don't remember. Crap, I don't remember. This one's 15. This one's 24. Let's try just 15. It's gonna error. It should have worked with addition, because you're adding one more than it is, so I think I did something wrong. But anyways, I don't think it can create this surface from here. I'm also going to turn this division points off because it's confusing me. Turn this off. well. But we're kind of getting to that form, as you can see. But that doesn't look right. So I'm going to actually use a GraphMapper. GraphMapper, wherever it is. And I'm going to plug this in here. And I'm going to do a right click. Let's try a Bezier curve, whatever this means. And then we're going to change these to probably 15 by 15, because we're just going to match right now the point count. And we're going to now plug in this into here and this into here. Okay, let me see what happens if I add more points, because right now, it's very strange. I think this needs to be flattened. Nope. Okay. How many points is spinning? 256. 256. Alright, so we're spitting out the right numbers. It works with 2. Works with 8. Alright. Let me try to up the point count real quick. As you can see, I'm doing a little bit of troubleshooting right now. Let's try plugging this in. Right now it's moving so weirdly because it's linearly moving. It's not like curving. As you can see, I have this weird V shape here. Did it flatten this? No, that creates that. What does grafting do? That creates a giant box of points, which would be cool if I needed it. So right now it just has this linear kind of motion. It's not very organic right now. This is weird. Let me try without this point real quick, because this is the only point that's not affecting this. So it's moving that. It's not moving these points. Right now they are partitioned, and these are not. can't think of how I did this before. Let me lower this count number to like 5. Okay. 10, 10. See, see, it makes that point. It only affects certain amounts. $900. Alright, so this is that point. I'm not too sure. Hold on, let me. This was kind of weird because it should have worked. So I have my list items. So let me try with 1 point first. Let me just try with 1 point. And let me ungraph this actually. So it only does in one direction. Doesn't do all the. It doesn't recognize all those points. Are you sure that finding it would not help? Right now, see, this goes linearly, which is I don't want because it's not like a drop down almost. So that's why I used GraphMapper. I don't really like GraphMapper, but in this case, we kind of need to use it. Let's do that Bezier again. Here and here. I'm going to make it 29. I know my domains are so weird. Which right now that's that point. Where's that point at? This is the point. So it's pushing down on that point. Right now it's pushing down versus swapping. Because it's taking this whole domain, which is not what I want. Alright, that's kind of what I was looking for. So look at this. This is what the curve I wanted. Alright, so that's kind of what I'm looking for right now. Alright. That's kind of what I'm looking for. So 0 to 13 or 13 to 0. Let's try the domains start to be here. So it goes 8. Whatever we want this point to be, we can move it whatever we want. Alright, cool. Let's try with the rest of them now. Alright, that's looking more like it. But the problem is now it's still now this V conical. Like it has this weird fold. So I'm going to lower the number here to like 20. Alright, that's looking a lot better. As you can see, we're having that little swoopy action happening. You can actually start to use the GraphMapper to kind of alleviate that type of tension. This can go here. Oh, droop down more. Droop down more. So what I can do now is, since I have 20, I can actually start to, if I have 20, sorry about that if you hear the vacuum sound. Right now I have 20 those points. Again, sorry if you hear that. I apologize if you hear that. I'm pretty sure you can. It's pretty loud. I have construction happening at my house, so once I raise this up to like, no, sorry. We'll just keep it at the 20s. By 30 should be fine. Once we raise we start to expand how big this is. You guys see it starts to actually create that flatness. So we want to raise it to the point where it's not that flat. So let's try that 27. So you can see we have that kind of conical. If we go back to this, we have, this looks pretty smooth. So I just want it to be as smooth as transition as possible. That looks pretty smooth. So I'm going to keep that for right now. But we're still missing that center point, so we only have 4 out of the 5 points. So all we need to do now is do a move. Again, we just need to plug these back into the respect areas and re-add this. Now it looks like this. Did it change much? Let's check. Oh, 29,000 points. That's not what I wanted. I only want the those points. Still 961. 961, 1,000, 29,000. Why is it 29,000 now? Let's check this out. Something's not matching up, that's why. Not 29,000, that's 19,000. This should be 1961, or I mean 961. After this it makes it, yeah. I think this needs to be flattened. Alright, there we go. Now the reason why I created those extra points, if we look at that, would be that it has this one branch that it has to do still, so it's going to have to repeat it throughout the entire script here, so let's flatten that. Alright, cool. So now we have that type of form. As you can see, it's a little bit less smooth than theirs, but I like it right now, so I'm going to keep it. It actually looks pretty nice. It's a little extruded here a lot, so I'm going to maybe, should I move that? I'm going to actually kind of mess around with this, see if I can get anything different. Looks like I can't. Let's see. If I make the plane bigger, will it alleviate some of that? Won't mix it. I like the flatness here, but I'm trying to replicate it to not exact, but very close. It's fine, there's a few flat edges, but it's just that it's moving all of these. I want it to be more like how this kind of gradually goes up instead of it kind of whoop. As you can see, it's very sudden. Let me check what I have here. Do I need to make it that high? Alright, that looks pretty close. I just want to make sure, but it has this seam now on these edges because of its moving parts. So I'm going to actually create this out of 19. I'm going to make the Y unit actually something higher. Let's try 22. Let's try 30. We can actually start to lower it. Now 30 is just exact of what the UV count is here. So you see we have that seam. So let's take this and make it 15. If the number's too low, it'll just create as flat. And, that looks a little bit better, but it has these flat edges. So we have to play around with the GraphMapper. You can easily move it up because of these points. Kind of start to actually create the geometry to be. See what this looks like. See, it does have that arch over there, so it does have that seam, but it's so subtle. I think that's pretty subtle, actually. Actually, it's not even there anymore. Let me move it up. The seam needs to be somewhat there. Yeah, alright. That should be a good... I just feel like the seam should be more points than that. But let's try a surface from points real quick. Let's just see what this looks like. I mean, I'm curious to see to addition. Okay, so now we have actually a surface. We can start to understand it a lot better. It's more solid massing. Now let's see what this looks like in comparison to what we have now. We have that seam. I think the seam should go up more. I think that'd be the correct course of action. Now let's relax those points right here. I want that seam sort of to carry through. Alright, that exaggerates it a little bit too much. Alright, that looks pretty good. Alright, so as you see, there was a lot of troubleshooting that I had to do, and also, as you see, there was a lot of troubleshooting also along, not just troubleshooting, but it's also a lot of just understanding how the software works. That's really all it is. So not understand the software. It's not like I don't understand the software. It's more of just understanding the modeling technique and using GraphMapper, because I don't use GraphMapper that often, and I'm a little bit unexperienced, and I wish I was a little bit more experienced in that. But that seems to be a pretty good form. Looks like a stingray kind of octopus, but you see it looks pretty good. It has this little inflection here, right? But let me see if I can raise that up a little bit. Raise that down a little bit. Alright. So you see it's raising it up a little bit here. I have that kind of conical. I want this to be more rounded here. I'm very picky when it comes to this. Sorry guys. I'm very picky. Let's try that. It's kind of lagging a little bit because I created that surface. That looks pretty good. It's a little flattened here, but I think that's the best we're going to get for right now. The seams are over-exaggerated a little bit in this one. You can see not as much, but the contours will definitely hide that. So we notice that the contours are also in the X direction if we look at it as this part as the front view right here. So let's start doing that. So now that we have this, we're going to now extrude the surface. Usually we want to create it as a solid first. So let's create the solid. Direction, I want to extrude it in the Z direction, and I'll just keep it at the unit factor of 1. So now that we have our solid, that looks really shiny. And I'm also going to turn off all these points because they are absolutely annoying. I'm not going to turn off these ones because they are important, but other than that, I like that. That looks really nice. Cool. This looks like a tent. This looks like a building, actually. I can't remember exactly the name. But anyways, once we have this surface, we want to now contour it. As you can see, the contours are very wavy here. But not that. If you look very closely, the contours are rounded here. So we need to do a fillet command, or a fillet, as people call it. I don't care how it's called. We just need to round these corners. As you can see, we just need, right now it's not cubic, it's more of a rounding operation here. So let's do a contour, and that's the wrong contour. Do you want to do this contour, the one with the square? And it's a shape, and we plug that in. And it's asking for direction, so we're going to do X direction, as we said. And then we're going to do a distance of 0.75. So that's a 3/4 of an inch. So let's do that. It's just generating the contour lines. Actually, 3/4 is very small. If I do it 4 feet, oh no, if this is 24 feet or 30 feet, that's actually really long. That's a lot of contours. Actually, oh, never mind. I thought it'd be longer. Never mind. Okay, I thought it'd be really long. Alright, so now I have my contours. These are an inch. I want it to reach the end of this as well, so I'm going to just make this 1 actually. Or 0.5. 0.5 would be fine. I'm just going to do 0.5 after this stops lagging. Let's see what 1 looks like first, and then I can start to judge. I want more contours, so I'm going to make a 0.5. I want double and see what that looks like. 0, delete all that. 0.5, check mark, okay. Right now I'm hearing not my cats, but I hear cats outside, and they're meowing. They're having these cats in our road always have like a fight in our driveway. I don't know why. Our driveway is a battleground for them. But yep, that looks fine actually. I think this is gonna work out pretty well. Awesome. That's exactly what I wanted. If this will stop lagging, I will definitely move on with this. Come on. Come on. Okay. Come on. Come on. Alright, cool. It stopped lagging. Alright, nice. Alright, so now I have the model here, and I'm going to turn off this extrusion. And now we have our line work. Now the problem is, you're wondering how are we going to now round these out. So what we're going to do is do, we're going to do a fillet or a fillet command on here. So just do a fillet curve. This has the curve and the radius. We're going to pick a 1/4 for right now, just to see how that works. And then we're going to plug in the curve. And let's see what that looks like. It's not responding. That's not good. Please respond. Alright, it responded. And now that it responded, I'm going to hide this, and I'm going to save this. I'm going to desktop. I'll go to our channel folder, and architecture, and I'll name this. And I already made this table, as you can see, contour table. So I'm going to name it contour table v2. And this is the one I'll be uploading on the drive, unless you guys want me to upload the other one. But anyways, you can see it's starting to round that. It just creates a fourth of an inch rounding to it. I'm going to make it a little bigger because I really don't like that. I'm going to do 0.45 actually. You can only go to up a 1/2 inch because think about it. If you round 1/2 inch, it's going to have to reach the midpoint of this. And if you remember our contour, our extrusion thickness, the extrusion thickness right here from here to here is 1. So you can only do up to 0.5. You can't do anything higher. I don't think you can do exactly 0.5 either, because then it would be it won't be a fillet. It would be more of a two weird circles touching each other. So there is some math involved. It cannot be past 0.5. And now it is not responding. Thank God I saved. Alright, coolio. As you see, I don't know why my computer's lagging so bad. Maybe because I have Chrome open still. But yeah, so we have that. Let's just do a boundary surface. I tried typing boundary surface in one of the videos into Rhino, and I remembered that's not a command. We just do, create a surface. As you can see, it creates a surface. Nice. Now, we know that each contour distance is 0.5. So I'm going to always make the thickness of this, let's see what the photo looks like. I think it's about a good 1/4 of an inch off always. So I'm going to make sure it's always a 1/4 of an inch off. Not even a 1/4, I'll say an 1/8. 1/8 would be reasonable. So let's do a extrude command again. Let's do base to here. It's not extruding anything yet. Subtraction. So this. I'm always going to leave an 1/8 of an inch of room. And then we want it in the X direction as well. Let it load. Sorry, my computer is just really slow right now. I have no clue why. It just likes to be slow. It's like it's superpower. So yeah, so as you saw in my model, I'll just talk about just the model in general. So while you saw how I struggled a little bit, and as I struggled a little bit, you saw that I had, sorry, I can't talk today. You saw that I had some troubles with modeling it, and that's just the reality of Grasshopper modeling. You're going to run into a bunch of errors. You're going to know what's going on. You're not going to know everything either, and that's just how it is. So you just got to start messing with it, and you'll get with the program in the sense that you'll understand how it works. So that left, I can't look at it. It did leave an 1/8 of an inch of room, and I think that's way too small. So we're going to change that to a 1/4. A 1/4? Wow, that's really, is it like the same thickness? They look almost, I'm going to make it 3/16, which is, man, I can't believe I have to math this out because I'm really bad. 3 divided by 16. I think it's 0.1875, but I'm not too sure. 0.1875, yep, okay. 0.1875. I'll check mark that. Alright, we'll press OK, and we'll see what those contours look like. And as I was saying, this is going to take a while. As I was saying, modeling in Grasshopper does take a lot of troubleshooting, and I always will, in every video, I will always leave my me troubleshooting, and I will never edit it out, because I feel that troubleshooting is such an important factor in modeling in general, not just Grasshopper modeling in general, that it's absolutely essential to have. Like, you can't be a good modeler without showing that you troubleshoot, in my opinion. So that's just me. And it needs to load now. Good. And it didn't load yet. It's not done yet. So yeah, that's just my opinion right there. So yeah, about this new series. This new series will be on just precedents, as I said before, on precedents that I find interesting, or anything that I see actually in real life and take pictures of, or I'm going to definitely, this next one, I'm going to do a structural one. So I'm going to do a structural iteration seminar or webinar, or whatever you want to call it, on how to build structure in Grasshopper with very simple, how to build structure with simple list manipulation. That's exactly what I'm going to do. It's going to be mostly featuring bracing, trusses, all that other stuff. It will be without Grasshopper, and I will have a tutorial. I'll have a tutorial with Grasshopper, and I'll have a tutorial without Grasshopper. Or sorry, I'll have a tutorial with Lunchbox, and I'll have a tutorial without Lunchbox. The first one will be without Lunchbox because I feel like it's important to understand listing in general, and I'll have one with Lunchbox because Lunchbox does make truss building easier. Alright, so we have that done. Sorry about that, guys. That's taking so long. I know some of this is a bit of a wait, so I apologize for that. I am getting a new computer. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to have 16 gigs of RAM and a nice graphics card. Cannot wait for that. It's going to be a desktop computer. So, once we have that done, as you can see, we have our model done here. I'm going to click Save. Alright, I saved it. And now that we have that done, nice. But now we need to create the glass table here. That little, that glass table. Or the glass part of it. So we created the hard part already. All we need to do now is just create that glass part. So let's just do that. I'm going to do I know. And I just remembered something. The glass, I'm using these points based off of it, but I remember that, let me check this out. Let me see if this worked. Okay, cool. Because I remember that it's about 0.75 inches high, or the extrusion height here was 1. So I'm actually going to set that as 1 here. It's already at 1, so this literally won't change a thing. Shouldn't. It's just 1. That's a while for some reason. My graphic gets for some. I'm really sorry, guys. I don't like you to sit through all this kind of pointless waiting. You can kind of skip around through the video if it does do this. Come on, computer. But yeah, I'm really excited about this new series. I'm going to talk about it. I'm really excited about this new series, and I can't wait to actually start to I really enjoyed teaching, so I can't wait to actually start this new series. I'm really excited about this. So if I just really want to, I really want to help people out with this program because a lot of people in my class struggled with it. So this is definitely something I'm really passionate about doing, just teaching something that makes people struggle in a sense that it'll help them become a better modeler, but they don't like to learn it just because, one, it's class. No one likes class. And two, it's just very difficult to learn since it's such a different modeling technique. Most modeling technique is more hands-on in a sense, not literally, but hands-on in the modeling software, versus this is more of a script-based, as obviously Grasshopper is scripting, but more of a, it's not a linear path in a sense, it's more of a node, and then you use these points, and then you have to actually you're using basically coding to make the model, and it's very difficult, in my opinion. So, alright, we'll start with the glass table. So I'm going to do a plane the same size as this, which is already here, and I'm going to do a move, or am I going to move? I'm going to just create a 4-point surface. No, I got this. Okay. Instead of using this plane, which would be smart, and then moving it up, I'm actually going to I'm going to be even smarter, somewhat, not really, but I'm going to be even smarter and do a 4-point surface. 4P, 4-point surface. So we're going to take this point, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to create that surface. Nice, but as you can see, the surface is cutting through the contours, so we can't do that yet. Darn. And then we're going to do a move first, actually, and we're actually going to, I'm going to create another merge, and the merge will just be of the 4 points only and not the center point. because I don't need that to create the table. And I move in the Z direction. I know they say Z somewhere in some country, I forget where. And it's going to be of whatever this extrusion factor is here. Sweet. That's exactly what I wanted. And I'm going to now take these points and create that 4-point surface again. Or can I do a surface from points? I think 5, since there's only 4 points. Okay, so the list is reading weird. It's reading 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's not creating that. I don't know why it's 2. What? I don't understand that U count thing. Oh, U count 2. Okay, never mind. It is literally U count 2. U. Even if it was UV, the V would still be that way. Alright, anyways, sorry. Let's do a reverse list. Nope. Reverse list. Plug this in and plug this in. Okay, maybe that didn't work. Well, that usually works. Let's see the paneling. I could have used those 4 points and just moved it up. Actually, I could have just plugged in those 4 points on a 4-point surface and then moved it up. But right now, yeah, even if I reverse the list, it wouldn't matter. Never mind. If I do, I have to do 1, 2. Yeah, that one worked, even if I reversed it. Okay. Alright, that's a lot of work. I just did the. Oh. I don't know what I just did. So I'm going to do that. Alright, let's try this out again. Instead of this merge, let's do a 4-piece surface. Again, troubleshooting. It's a very simple operation, but of course, it makes it complicated. I make it complicated for myself. Geometry, we'll just move it. Nice. Then we'll turn this off. As you can see, now we have our countertop table. We're going to now extrude it. Probably a 1/2 inch thickness for glass. Then Z. We're going to now have that thickness. Nice, nice. Okay, so we finished everything here. And we're going to now model it. Not model it, sorry. We're going to now. Why is it levitating? What the hell? Okay. For some reason it's levitating. So, well, because of rounding. But we're going to, for some reason it's levitating. So, I am going to move that in Rhino because it's easier. There's certain things you need to learn. You can do everything in Grasshopper and you can do everything in Rhino. It's just harder. But if you work together with Grasshopper and Rhino, that's why it's called Rhino plus Grasshopper. But if you work together within programs, if you kind of switch back and forth between them, that's what makes them so great. If you switch between back and forth, so I'm actually just going to use the move command and move it just by snapping it versus figuring out the math and doing all that bull crap. Why do I need to do the math if I can just move it manually? So I'm going to, I don't have to group this. This is the box. I'm going to start baking the geometry now. So I baked that. Well, I did bake it. Alright, and this boundary surface is not working. Something's not working. Alright, whatever. Looks like it's all working except for like one. Is it? Alright, let's try baking it. Let's do bake by group since there's so much geometry. And that should be good once I get this baked. Come on. Alright, cool. We can close out of this. Shaded view. I like my background. Shaded view. Come on, man. Don't load. Or, I mean, don't take this long to load. Not don't load. I want you to load. I don't know why my computer's being so slow right now. It's probably because I have this on. So I don't think we need the photo anymore, but replica versus that. As you see, it's just a replica versus that. So I'm going to close out of that real quick. So yeah, I'm just going to show you the base geometry and we should be good. I know a lot of this has been waiting. I'm very sorry again. I don't like to make you guys wait. Full screen this so we get full. Let's see what it didn't cap. Because there was a boundary surface error somewhere here. So we'll do a show edges here. There's something wrong with one of these. Nope. 38,000. There's no bad edges. Alright. Cool. Alright. That looks really nice. I'm really happy how this turned out. Yeah, it has that subtle gap here. And I like how it shows more of that contour. Now, if you do want more contours, all you do literally is change the number. It's not that hard in my opinion. So let me show you. I'm going to just move this. I'm going to do a move. I'm just going to do a vertical yes. And so you should use Rhino and Grasshopper as a tool. You shouldn't solely use Rhino or solely use Grasshopper. You should use them in conjunction with each other, and that's the best way to model in Rhino and Grasshopper. Rhino plus Grasshopper. Use them accordingly. You don't only spam one or the other. It never works like that. Alright, that should be good. Object tangent. Alright, now it is sitting sort of on the surface. The points should be exactly the same height, but for some reason this one's kind of sitting on top of that one. They're not even. Somewhat. They should be even, but it could be the contours. But anyways, yeah, that's it for that part. So I'm actually going to, in this part, render a little bit. So I'm going to start in this. I know I did that a little bit in another video or in another tutorial for a Grasshopper tutorial. I did a little bit of rendering. I think that was the Fillet facade, but I'm going to start to do it a little bit in here. I'm not going to render it fully. I'm just going to do a partial render, just a rendered view. So we look at the rendered view. We have that white table. I'm not going to render it in the material that it is in right now. I mean, I can, but I'll have to use 3ds Max for that because I don't know how to render very well in Rhino. But if you want just the glass facade, you can change that to a material, and that will be, I'm just going to make it glass. This one glass. I will go to the texture, materials. I'll add one. It will be glass. And assign, click this, and assign to object. Assign to layers of 1. And that should make it glass. Should have. For some reason that's showing up. Okay. So this is just a rendered view. I'm not going to try too hard on this one. Or not try too hard on the rendering. I'm going to do a rendering actually of this table in the next video. So I don't want to waste your guys' time too much anymore. So yeah, guys, that's it for this video. I will have a part 2 on this one for the rendering part. I'm going to render it. So yeah, guys, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys have a great day. Bye.